Hi, I'm Julie Hammonds. I'm the VP of Sales at Defencify Training. And with me today, I have the National Training and Compliance Manager from DSI, Mr. Jamie Riddenhauer. Thanks, Jamie, for coming. I just have a few questions I want to ask you. Jamie, I know you have a large a lengthy background in this field. I'll throw it to you and you can share a little bit about you and your background.
Yeah, thank you so much, Julie. So glad to be able to sit here and all with you as well. And you're right, I am Jamie Ridenauer. I'm the National Training and Compliance Manager for DSI Security Services. I've been in the industry for about a decade. I started out as a security officer. I worked as a security officer, an operations manager, a branch manager, and then I've been a member of our corporate team now for a number of years. And it's been an amazing journey. I love it. I love the industry. I love being able to be a part of the industry and, dealing with our security officers, other professionals, colleagues, and everything else. And it's been wonderful to partnership with you all and have those discussions and everything and be a part of that fellowship with some like-minded people that also want to get that training out to officers and make sure people are better equipped to do their job, make better decisions, and just have good outcomes when they go to work. So thank you very much for letting me come on and speak with you today, and just glad to be here and appreciate that partnership, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's get to it. How has Defensify changed your onboarding process?
So that's a really good question. And of course, in different states, we have a little bit of a different process in different places. So what we want to do when we first partnered with you all there at Defensify was to identify some states where we could really leverage some of that state oriented training. So as we continue to use Defensify, we want to do more with it. But for this instance, let's kind of talk about a case by case kind of situation. We started out using it in one state to replace some of what we were doing internally for our state-based training. And in that one state, it made onboarding a lot more efficient in the way we were able to do it. Whereas before, what we were having happen is we would have employees come to a physical office location once or twice a week, kind of on a rotating basis. And employees would have to wait in between to come to those training sessions or be a part of those training sessions. Whereas now it's it's made that process much more efficient, because now I can approach someone on Monday, interview, whatever else it may be, and then immediately or within a day or so enroll them into those online classes through our internal system, and they're able to go on and go ahead and jump in there and get it done. So you're not having to wait week to week for those classes, make sure they can sit down. And then let's not even get too far into the whole COVID situation. But as we all know, that really changed the dynamic of having so many people physically around each other all the time. And even though we're kind of past some of those aspects, we still deal with the lingering effects of it. And it's also just better for some people when they can just do it digitally now, especially that we've all learned how efficient some of that digital and online training can be. So I've always been a big proponent of training in general. I'll be honest with you, prior to COVID, I was much more of a proponent of in-person training over online. But during COVID, we got to see and do and experiment with a lot more online training. And I really am a proponent of a hybrid now, where I do still believe in the importance of in-person training, but that online training aspect is so important and is just as important to be able to reach out and touch people and do it efficiently and get it out to however many people you need to, as well as like supplemental training or whatever else that may be. So in short, it has helped in those areas where we've rolled it for it to make that process quicker, more efficient, and even a little bit simpler on the back end.
Great. We love to hear that. How has using online training helped to increase your hiring capabilities?
I think, and the question there, as far as hiring capabilities, in some ways it has and hasn't affected some of those so much as it's affected the flow through and the throughput, and then also the product on the back end of, like, when you get people in and they feel equipped, they feel like they know what they're doing, and also being able to have that homogenized training. Instead of, Julie speaks with someone and they get XYZ, I'm able to know that you're getting a bottled product that I know what it is. I know the nutrition. Okay. I know how many calories you're getting. I know how much sugar you're getting. I know how much filler and fiber and everything you get. I know how many vitamins you get. I know what I'm putting out there. So it's made some of that more, once again, back to that word again, efficient, and then also consistent, and security. We love the word consistent. There's two C words in security: one we hate, one we love. One we hate is complacency. You never want to get complacent, but the one we love is consistency. I like consistency of training, consistency of behavior out in the field and what our people do. And so there is some very good consistency with being able to offer these trainings that we know what they are, we know what they consist of. And then from a retention standpoint, so it may not help necessarily a whole lot with that initial, Julie, I want you to work for me, that kind of piece of it. But on the back end, a retention piece is when I show Julie that I am investing in you, I want you to have this training. I want you to make good choices. I want you to be equipped. And we've also, once again, being able to partner with Defencify along with our own internal systems and presentations and videos and all, we've got this huge library that we can pull from that has been amazing and instrumental in being able to deliver those monthly trainings, that remedial training, that extra little bit of training for people or whatever else that may be. So it's been a good tool from all those standpoints, and then being able to offer between our online training and the training offered by you all to have consistent items and modules and training layouts, or what's the word I'm looking for, curriculums, that we know kind of what's out there and what they're touching. So
How has our training improved your brand or increased professionalism of your officers while they're on post?
yeah, that's a really good question. And of course, with any type of training, you want it to enrich your officers and make them better and make them be able to make better decisions. And I think that in and of itself, flipping that around, that is kind of what's happened with being able to leverage online training and get those to people and get them that consistency of training. I think it lends itself to employees that feel better about themselves and their knowledge level. I don't know about y'all, but we've all walked into situations before where you don't really know what you're doing, and it can be uncomfortable, and it can lead you to make unwise decisions, and maybe not even unwise, maybe just uneducated decisions, because you don't know any better. And ignorance doesn't necessarily lend itself towards knowing much about context or what you should do or how it should work. So I think the big thing is when you equip your people with knowledge to have better thought processes ahead of time, to have better context of situations, and to kind of understand how things should work, you set them up to make better decisions, and better decisions are more professional decisions. You see how I tied it back in there? So better decisions are more professional decisions, and people that have a good knowledge base are able to be more professional, deal with people, and know what they're doing, and they have that inherent confidence of, I know what I'm doing, so I can be more professional at it. I can talk through it. I can deal with it. I can work on this and all. So, every bit of training that you can work with somebody to enrich them and give them that little bit of extra understanding and knowledge gives them that little extra bit of also that confidence and kind of some of the building people up. So I think it does. And any training that you can offer an employee does help to build them up and help to improve them, and also help to make them to, once again, I love good decisions. So it helps them to make good decisions and be consistent in those decisions and the way that they carry out what they do.
And represent your brand, right? I mean,
That's
your
right.
brand
Right.
as a company is your it's your biggest asset. Your
Yeah.
name and your
Yeah.
brand are super important, and you want people representing you in the most utmost professional way. So I think
You're
that's
absolutely
helpful.
right. You're absolutely right. And really it's that trifecta, right? It's the online training, the on the job training, and the orientation training. If you get that kind of trifecta going just right to get somebody going, and then of course ongoing training beyond that, but that initial trifecta, if you can line that up right and have good orientation, good on the job training, and some good online training to supplement those things and all, you're really setting someone up for success.
Great. So what are your favorite benefits overall? The ones that really stick out at you, your favorite benefits of using Defensify.
Multifaceted question, of course, because there's a lot of things I like about it. I like the usability. I like some of the different things and everything. I think, to give you a couple of different reasons, one thing I like is the content. I like the ability to have several uh, different silos or different types of content that I can pull from, everything from, we've got some stuff in there from sexual harassment to access control to nature and role to use of force to, all these different things that they're involved in that are a part of y'all's library. So I love that there's that library to pull from. So I like that piece of it. Another piece I love about it is the fact that it is user friendly for our officers. Our officers do give us good feedback on their navigation of the system, their use of the system, the gamification. You've got some really interesting stuff in there that involves gamification. So it's not boring, because let's be honest, we've all been a part of boring training. Okay.
Right.
And I'm a training and compliance manager. So I know I've given some boring training, Lord help me. but nobody wants to struggle through a training. Nobody wants to kind of slog through a training. You want training to be memorable. You want training to give you want some good feelings from training. If you want it to feel positive from either, the fact of the enrichment and all that, or at least from the interaction with it, how it's used, how it's poised. And I like the multimedia aspect of Defencify's training. There's some stuff they click. There's some stuff they interact with. There's some stuff they listen to. There's some stuff that they watch. There's, and I love that there's all that interaction there that happens. So I think that helps keep them engaged and helps keep them coming back to want to do more with some of it. So I think those are, some of the main benefits to me. And then the other thing is let's be honest here. I don't know if anybody else that listens to this or watches this is a training and compliance guy, but compliance from that regulatory standpoint, Defencify has a number of out of the box solutions for state regulated and state mandated training. And sometimes that can be a little difficult to put that curriculum together or to get it approved or to make sure you have somebody on staff that can take care of it or to outsource it. You got to pay Jimmy John to go out here and do a class and it costs $150. Well, instead we've been able to partner and now we've got that same training available that costs X amount of money and they can do it in X amount of hours and they can do it through an online platform and it still meet all the requirements and take care of everything it needs to from a regulatory standpoint. And it's much more efficient and it's a lot less costly. So, and it's consistent because once again, even with a good trainer, different days you get a different day. Different days you get a different Dave. I had a coworker used to say, so some days you get a little bit different than what you would. So, I think those are all good benefits that I've seen and that we've seen here from the access to the Defencify training.